Vice President Mike Pence takes as many potshots for his Christian faith as he does for his politics. But that faith has been his rock from childhood to the vice presidency. It's an inspiring story, and it's told in the new book, The Faith of Mike Pence. Would you please welcome its author, Leslie Montgomery. Leslie, thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
So glad to have you here. I think what makes this book so very fascinating is that the foreword was written by a guy I know real well.
That's right, a guy named Mike Huckabee.
I know. So if I recommend this book, it's got to be good.
That's right.
It is a great book because you're talking about a person I think is a great person. Vice President Pence is the real deal.
He is. He really is. Yeah.
So you got to see that when you were writing this book about his faith. What was the big revelation about the authenticity of Mike Pence's faith?
There was so much I learned about him when I was going into this project. I knew nothing about him other than the fact that he was our vice president and he claimed to be a Christian.
Yeah.
And so I ended up doing 2.5 years of research and almost 60 interviews. And I walked away from writing this book inspired, encouraged, and challenged in my faith. I was just, it's a comeback story, not just personally and politically, but spiritually.
Mike Pence is a person who's very low-key. You know, he's not a guy that goes out there and yells and screams, and that's just not his style. He and his wife, Karen, are delightful Christian people. What was the biggest surprise that you had in researching and getting to know the vice president?
I think my biggest surprise is, one, how humble he is. And second of all, what a servant's heart he has. Not unlike yourself. He was raised Roman Catholic, and that was really instilled in him at an early age. But when he first became a congressman in 2000, he gave examples to his staff about Jesus washing the feet of the disciples. When people came to protest, like people from the union, he would take them coffee and donuts. He made sure that if one of his constituents had a death or a trauma in his family, he'd go to their house and pray for them. He was always looking for ways to serve his staff, other politicians, people on the other side of the table. And it was really interesting because the people that I interviewed for this book were Democrats and Republicans, down the middle, advocates of LGBT, they were pro-choice, and everybody said the exact same thing about him. He's a man of God and he's a man of integrity.
Even his opponents, and I won't use the word enemies because I don't think, how could you be an enemy of the vice president? He's one of the genuinely decent people I think I've ever been around, and certainly in politics. But people who would have a very different opinion of his views, but they like him personally.
That was really amazing to me because I didn't handpick these people. These were people that I found or people that were referred to me or actually came to me. And so everybody I talked to, even when he had his radio show, Democrats loved being on his show because he was not combative. Yeah. He would ask them all kinds of hard questions, and at the end of the show he'd say, you know, we're just going to have to agree to disagree. But he would never attack them. He was just a good person to them. He was nice to them. He cared about them individually as a person, first and foremost.
You know, Leslie, I remember he got ridiculed because he made the comment, it's something he's practiced, where he doesn't meet alone with a woman.
That's right.
If his wife, Karen, is not there, or if someone else is not there. He just doesn't do it. He's never one-on-one. And everybody in the secular world thought, what total nonsense that is. How crazy. Right. And made fun of him, ridiculed him, scorned him because he didn't put himself in that position. Then the Me Too movement came along, and suddenly people said, the guy's a genius.
That's right.
He never put himself in a position where he could ever be accused of having taken advantage of someone of the opposite gender in a personal setting. I mean, he suddenly became like, what a smart guy that was.
Well, it's a couple of things are funny about, he and the second lady have been married over 35 years, which is more than 2/3 of Americans. So I think they have something to teach us.
Yeah.
But the other thing is that, you know, we live in a culture where you can't make people happy. I mean, President Trump is ridiculed for, allegedly being a whoremonger, and then Vice President Pence is, accused of being, a godly man.
Too faithful to his wife.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, so what do we want, in an administration?
How do you think the vice president is portrayed differently by the media then you came to know him, and that you would say, here's who he really is versus how the media has portrayed him?
Well, the media has an agenda. Usually the left-wing media has quite an agenda to tear him apart. And unfortunately, we live in a culture where it's becoming more and more biblically illiterate with every year that passes, and so they believe whatever they're told by the left-wing media. But the truth is, he's a godly man. He is a genuine man who has a heart after God. Nobody I talk to, and many people since I wrote the book, nobody comes across Mike Pence is not impacted by his faith or by him. People said, I met him, I was involved with him at work or with him personally, and I said, I want to be like he is. I want to be the man of God that he is. I want to be the husband he is. I want to be the father that he is. I want to be the servant that he is. Everybody's impacted by Mike Pence in a positive way.
I've heard him say many times, he says, I'm a Christian, I'm a conservative, I'm a Republican, and in that order.
I would change that.
Okay.
I would say I'm a Christian, I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a conservative, and I'm a Republican. That's the truth about who he is.
So his family, I mean, and I've seen this up close and personal, is really, other than the Lord, I mean, that's his main focus of life. I think he would walk away from everything political if he had to choose between his wife and his children and his political career.
It's God, his marriage, his children, and then his career. That's exactly.
Tell us what you feel like that the marriage of Mike and Karen Pence could tell the rest of America. You said they've been married 35 years, they're faithful, loyal to each other. When you see them together, you can tell that this is a couple who is truly bonded to each other.
There is no Mike Pence without Karen Pence. And from the beginning, when they were just dating, his friend said that he knew from the beginning, he knew exactly what he wanted in a partner. He wanted someone, not someone who's just going to stay home and raise kids, someone who was going to go into it as a partnership that he could be partners with, that could be partners with him. And he told Karen going into it, that's the kind of marriage I want. And that's the kind of marriage that they have had. He's been a part of her world, she's been a part of his world. And they've gone at it together, and they've weaved this beautiful relationship, and they make decisions together in each other's lives. They've raised their children together, and they pray together. They spend time in the Word together every day. It is a godly relationship. It's
a beautiful story. I'm glad you told it, because I think it's a great gift to the world. First of all, to the people who share the faith of Mike Pence, to know that his is authentic. But it's also a great gift to the world of people who are the skeptics, the cynics, the people who don't think he's real. And you give very specific examples of the authenticity of the vice president. You can get The Faith of Mike Pence. It's on Amazon and other booksellers. You can also get it direct from the author, Leslie Montgomery, and that's authorlesliemontgomery.com. authorlesliemontgomery.com. We've got it on your screen to make it easy for you. You can also follow her on Twitter at LG Montgomery. Wait, don't click that button. Well, unless it was the subscribe button, and then carry on. And while you're down there, hit that little notification bell too. Oh, and if you leave a like and a comment, I will personally give my dog Toby a treat. Leave a like, feed a dog, as I always say.